Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new Filemaker video. This is episode 5 in our series, and what we're going to do today is we're going to work a little bit on doing some this administrator thing. We're going to kind of work on some security issues that we're going to do and how we're going to resolve those. So that you can assign personal numbers for everyone that's using the computer or using your solution. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's pretty simple. So it shouldn't take us very long, but we're going to go ahead and go through there. The time card thing, I haven't gotten anybody interested in the time card thing. We may and or may not do the time card thing. I'm not really sure, but the button is there. In the final one, we will actually have some sort of a time card thing. So, and I will obviously do a video. I guess I'll just do a video on it as well. It's pretty simple. It just would take you to a time card page. You would enter in your number, and then it would log you into the system, and then log you out of the system, depending on which one you picked. Either log in or log out. It would keep a separated file for every one of those people. So what we need to do first and foremost is we need to go in and we need to manage our database, because we're going to have to add some things to this. Now in this particular case, we are on the table menu, so that's kind of a thing that we need to do, is we need to have a table. We need to get into that table menu. So we'll just go ahead and manage our database, and you'll see we're already on the table menu and we're into this system right here. So one of the things that I want to do real quick is I want to move some of my computer stuff around really quick. I want to add an error box, and I think I'll just type it in as, let's just keep it correct the way that I like to do things. That way we don't have to worry about it. Now this error box can just be a control N, because it's a number, so it's not that big of a deal. And we will go ahead and create it. Now the error box we can put on any and or all of the pages if that is what we need to do. And this is a very important thing that we never did discuss. So as long as you're in the menu system, you're under the menu table, what I could do with that is if I put an error box, so we'll just call that, okay. If I put an error box, field picker, error box, no label, and I'm going to put this one way over here. And I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get into my inspector, and I'll just make it 0, or no color. That's what I'm looking for, is that it doesn't have any fill color and no line around it, because it's kind of a thing, don't want a line around it. And it will have like a tan color to it. But if I were to close this off and I were to go into, let's say, register 1, and I went into layout and I went into field picker, and I put an error box in the field picker, and I went back into the inspector, my appearance, we obviously want no color and no line. And right now we're leaving it so that it is, we can mess with it, right? We can do stuff with it. So we can click on it should we want to. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to center the text. Because I like it to do that, we'll exit the layout really quick. We'll go back to our exit, edit the layout here, and we'll center this text as well, or center the numbers inside of it. And then we'll exit. Now if we click on this box and we put a 1 in the box, let's see if it'll let us do it. 1. Oh, it is doing it. I just did not see it. That's so funny. Because of its color, that's the reason why. So we'll click off of it. We'll click back on it. The best thing to do is let's edit the layout. Let's create, for this box, let's make the color, instead of blue, let's make it a yellow color. And now if we exit the layout and we go into this box and we type a 1, Wow, you can barely see it. I don't know what the deal is. I guess maybe I didn't do something correctly. Yellow text. There we go. Now it says error box in yellow. So now you can actually see it. And let's just go quick to our category page real quick. And we're going to do the same thing with that as well. We're going to change that to a yellow color. Now we're only doing this just for the purpose that you can see it. I'll take it back to the blue color as soon as we're done. And now if we go back to our, if we just exit the layout and we go back to our exit page, now you'll see that it says 1 here. See how it says 1 right here? You guys can see the 1. Now if I go and I click and I put in a 2, 3 in this box, and I'm not in edit layout, or anything, and if I go to register 1, it also appears as 1, 2, 3. So if you put a field in on any table, so if I was to put that in all of my things, and then I was in all of my layouts, if I was to put this little box in all of my layouts, it's going to be the same for all of them. I know that's really hard to explain because one time I thought if I had a box and I put the box there and I assigned a number to it, and then that way if it said, if this box said 1, then do this, and if the box said 2, then do this other thing, right? The problem that I had was that box, it's the same. If I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that box, and I'm on the regular entry page, or I'm on any page and I do that, because if I go, like, let's go to register 1 and I can change it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete it, and I'm just going to put in a couple of zeros. So now it's 100. You can see it now says 100. And if I exit and I go back to their entry page, it is now 100. So it changes it across the spectrum, all through the entire system. It will be changed. And so you want to make sure that if you want a box that is specific to a page, that you have to make it specific to the page. Now that kind of is a bummer, especially if you're trying to create template pages, but we don't, I've discovered we don't really need to do that kind of thing. So you don't really need to have that. There are other ways of actually achieving the things that you're looking for. So what we're going to do now is we do need this error box, but we do need to create, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete it down to 1. And I'm going to leave it yellow just so you guys can see it. In the finished product, it'll be a blue color, and the blue color will basically be there so that you won't necessarily see it when you're on this page. So what I want to do is we want to go into Edit Layout, and we want to manage our database. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new table. Now, a brand new table gives us an ability for either several pages or a single page or whatever you want to, but it has to be something completely separated, right? So we're going to do something completely separated, and this is basically going to be our security vault. Let's create a quick security vault, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So the security breach vault. Now we did do this on another video, and if you go back and you look at the multi-user thing, you'll see that we actually did create this back then, but we do need to have it for any purpose, as long as you're putting in any sort of a passcode to get somewhere, you want to make sure that you're as safe as you can possibly be. So we're going to go ahead and create the security breach vault. And now the next thing that we're going to need is we're going to need a user base. So, and this is information that you'll be able to access and change at will. So let's say that you've assigned Josh a number, and Josh is an employee of yours, and his passcode is 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the case is. and you've decided that what you want to do is you want to change that number every couple of months, or you want to make a change to it. His number may have gotten out, or you've fired Josh, or you've terminated him and you want to bring in a new employee. So this allows you to change that record and identify specific passcodes or passwords or whatever it is to whoever you want to. So we're going to use we're going to call this the user database. And notice they're all separate. I've separated all of them. And we'll go ahead and create, all the words, as you can see. You don't have to have them underscored. They don't have to be next to each other. They can be separate just like this. So we'll go ahead and create that. Now we're going to double click on the security breach vault, because the only thing that we need in here is an identifier or a pass code, or whatever you want to call it. So we'll just go ahead and call this the passcode. We'll just call it passcode, and we're going to leave it as a text. And this is going to be a highly secure passcode. The only person that will have the passcode is going to be the administrator. So, and there's no way to get out of that without having like if you get into it, an administrator will physically have to go and take that out. So we'll go ahead and generate that as a passcode. Now we do want to go to our user database, and we need to know a few things about our user database. First thing that we're going to want to know is, what is your password, what is your passcode, right? So we have to keep a log of all of those that we want. So we'll go ahead and we'll do passwords. Pretty simple, and it can be a text or number or whatever you want to do. For my case, I'm going to go ahead and use numbers, because I'm big on just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, simple things that are super simple. And we're going to create that. Now what we need is the username. We need to know, how do we associate the password with somebody, right? So we're going to have a username. Now in many cases, if you're going to use this data for anything other than that, because you want to generate data from this this field, you might want to go ahead and put in a first name, and that's going to be a text, so Control T, and then a last name, learn how to spell, and that is also going to be a text. And then you can, if you want to, you can have an in-out button or an in-out identifier, or whatever the case is, and it's basically an activity, and it tells you if the person is actually on, okay? So if they're actually using their passcode and they haven't logged out yet. So we're just going to have active. We're just going to call it we'll just call it active, and we can either have that a text, a number. It doesn't make any difference what it is, because it's just something that we're going to put in there. I'm going to leave it as a text. I suggest you leave this one as a text, just so that we are the same on this particular issue. And then what we're going to need is, we're going to need to know, where do you want that person to go? What do you want this person to do once they put their number in? So it's going to be the destination of where that person goes. So we'll just type in destination, and it'll be a text. And so we can go ahead and create that by pressing the enter button. Now if there's any other information that you can think of that you might want to add to this, you might want to add, I don't know, birth dates or whatever. I mean, you want to keep track of like every single thing the person does. You can certainly do that. You can also put in like in a notes field, and I will show you how to do that too. So I'm gonna put in a notes field. And what the notes field I'm going to use for is, it's going to generate, when my person logs into the system, in this particular case, it's going to automatically fill the time that person logged in. So it's going to say this person is active, and this is the exact time that they actually logged into the system, or this is when they last logged into the system, so that you can keep track of those things, if you want to keep track of those things. And I think with that, we'll just go ahead and call this okay. So now we actually have another page where we're going to be able to build, and this page is going to be pretty simple because it's going to be super easy to do. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to take, we're currently on what's called the entry page. So we'll go ahead and we're going to create our security breach box thingy really fast. And all I'm going to do with that is I'm going to go ahead and manage my layouts. And as you can see, we're on this is called the entry page one, and there it is. And we can just basically highlight it and duplicate it. And this is on the entry or underneath the admin section. So what I want to do is I want to edit that. And I'm going to call this the security breach. Security breach. And we want it to show records from, and this is the funny thing, we want to show records from security breach vault. That's what we want. And we will say okay. Now it doesn't need a date and a time. If you want to add the date and the time that people actually ended up in the security breach vault, that's fine, but you don't need it. So we'll just call that good. Now from this particular section, what we need to do is we'll go to the security breach vault, and it's under the admin section. And as you can see, it's the exact same thing as it was before. So we won't need an invoice lock. We won't need the date. We won't need the administrator or the security. The only thing that we will need, and I'm going to go ahead and double click on this, and I'm just going to say security vault. Security vault. And we're going to put that on the very far side of what we're doing. Now, what we do need is this one, this box. If you went here and you touched that box, it would actually take you out, right? It would take you to, because it recognizes the script. The script says, I want to go to menu 1. I want to go to that first one. So absolutely none of these boxes are going to do you any good at all. So we need to basically get rid of all of them, and we're going to go ahead and leave the unused one here. So I want to go ahead and edit the layout. I'm going to get rid of all of these, just delete them, and all of these, and I want to leave the unused one where it is. Now the error box we no longer need, and we no longer need this box, which is, if you don't remember what it is, you can just come over here, click your inspector, and go into your data, and it will tell you that it is a menu product code box. Well, we don't need that product code box, so we're going to click back on it again, and delete it. Now we have a very fresh page with nothing on it. And remember, as long as we're not doing scripts, as long as we're not writing a bunch of stuff and putting it on these pages, we're allowed to take those pages and kind of expand them into what we want them to be. So we'll go into our field picker, and we want to grab our passcode, which is a text button, and we don't need a label for it at all. So we're just going to grab it, and we're going to bring it out here to the center. Now I do want to make it much larger, so I'm going to go ahead and do an 18 on the box, and I'm going to center the text in the middle of it. And I'm going to put this, if I can find a spot, dead in the center. And that was just a matter of text. So we'll type in some text. You have entered the security breach vault. And then we can just say, let's press enter for a new line, and we'll just say something like administrator assistance is required to leave this portal. And if we click off of it, we can take that up to 14 or an 18 or whatever it is that you want. I particularly don't like Tahoma, so I'm going to go with the Bookman old style, and I'm going to put it dead in the center. And I'm also going to make this text you know what? Let's just leave it that color because I want to show you how to do some pretty cool stuff. Let's put in another text really quick. Warning. And click off of it. And I'm gonna make this one like really big. And Bookman old style because I just like Bookman old style. I know it's kind of like my thing. Maybe I might even go with a 36. And we'll put that dead in the center as well. And now this unused box, we can actually put it in the center. Now, if you wanted to, you could add things to this or just leave it the same. It doesn't really matter. You can just leave it however you want to do it. You can put little notes, put little pictures, you could decorate this, make it pretty, do whatever you want to. I personally myself think it's just great to just leave it just exactly the way that it is. So, and we will go into the scripting on that, and I will let you know how to do that. This is a pretty simple script, and what it is we're going to double click on this, and it's going to say, what do you want to do? Well, we're going to say, we're going to call this admin, and we want it to perform a quick script. And one of the cool things is I wanted to show you guys how to do some script stuff too, because I'm so excited about actually doing that. So we're going to basically call this the admin vault. That way we know, right? Admin vault. We know it's the admin code for the admin vault. And we'll call that OK. Now, the very first thing that we want to do is we want to say if the box is empty, do nothing, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll say if. And we'll say if let's do this. If is empty, and passcode is our field. If it's empty passcode, then what we want it to do is we want it to just halt the script, just stop. So we'll just click into this white area, and we'll just click halt script. Because we don't want to give anybody access to anything else, and we'll just take the halt script right above the end if. So now if it's empty, it's just going to halt the script. No big deal. But now we also need to say, we need another if. If, and we'll click on it, and we'll say if passcode is equal to, and we'll put this in parentheses. I like to put them in parentheses, and I think it's a big deal to put them in parentheses. But if it is equal, and I think if you use the brackets, that it has to be identical to whatever it is that you put in there. But I like to use, so at this point, basically you just put in your passcode. So let's, let me just erase this really quick. Now let's use this. And if it's equal to, let's say, Tim. And we'll call it good. Nope, apparently it won't let us do that. Okay, so it does have to be. Unless you're having, why did I just do that? Tim. Okay, so unless you're actually have a field or a thing, so it has to be that. So like you could generate double $, which is a global variable. If you generate a global variable, you could put your global variable in there. But right now, I'm just going to do as my name. So if the security breach is Tim, then we'll go back to the main menu, right? So we'll just say we want to set field, and we'll specify, and it's passcode. And what the results are is we just wanted to clear the field out, so we're going to use the parentheses. So we'll set the field as parentheses, and then we will go to, so if you click on this just to highlight it, and then you go to layout, and this layout will be the entry page layout. And then what you want to do is, I think that'll be good. I think that'll actually end it, and then we'll just go ahead and we'll put in halt script. I'm sure that will basically get us back to where we want to go, and we'll call that good. Okay. Now, if you're going to manage your scripts, and this is before we actually get into any of that other stuff, so if you come into this area, you can actually create a folder. And it's at times you really want to create a folder. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this my go-to folder. So go to, let's see, go to scripts. And so now if I take this folder and I can say the admin access is not, it's a security one, but I do want to be able to, so like the exit button would go under my go-to scripts. The menu 1 button would be on the go-to scripts, because I haven't done in the invoice one would go underneath there. The admin access and the admin vault would not go under there. And then you can uncheck them, which is cool, because now they cannot be seen. So when you're looking for scripts, you wouldn't be able to just normally find them. And during the end, when we get to the very end and we've done building everything, we will uncheck everything. So that the only way you can get to here is through a computer and on the admin level. So we don't need to do anything other than that right now, but I did want to show you guys that really super fast, how to create a folder in this so that you guys know what you're doing and you can actually start to separate some of those things. And we will go ahead and control S, just save it and close it down. So now if we exit the layout and we type in, oh, I haven't even created a record. Now I wanted to explain really quick what creating a record is. So currently this page doesn't exist. I mean, it's like, it's a rough, right? It's just like, it's just out there, it's a rough. So I haven't even created and said, okay, this is a real page. So that's why we go ahead and create a record on this page. Ta-da, there it is. Now we're good to go. So now anytime we need to, we would just type in our number. So if we type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Isn't that wow? See, so what did we not do, right? So let's go back and delete all of those things. And let's go into edit our layout and double click on our admin and then open our script. So if it is empty, and then, but if it is equal to Tim, but what if it's not equal to Tim? So that's where we would basically need to put in one more script. We can go here and just put the halt script up here, and we can say, well, if it's not empty, it'll go to the next one. And if it's not equal to Tim, it'll go to the next one. It'll go down to this end if. So all we need to do is just come here, set a field, pick the field as the passcode, and the calculated result will be nothing. So now, if we go ahead and save that, and we get out of this, and we type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all these words, it'll just delete it. So no matter what you put in there, it's just going to delete it. But if you put in your name or you put in your special passcode, this is a special passcode. Don't let anyone know what your passcode is. Ta-da, it will take you out. And now if we go back, let's say we go back to our security breach vault. Okay, that wasn't the right one. Where is it? Oh, it's under admin pages, security breach. It's empty. It's empty. It cleared it out. So we know that it works perfectly. This is where that 1 comes in handy, because that 1 is going to tell us how many times people messed with our admin box. How many times did people try to do things that they weren't allowed to do to start with. Sorry, but take me a quick drink. A drink of my coffee, which is something I so enjoy in the mornings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to need to redefine what happens with this admin button. Because right now, the admin button, if we go into our script of what the admin access says, it says, if the security box is equal to, and if it's not equal to, and blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't have anything to do with the error box, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything else, right? So it's very stuck in its nature. Well, I want to make a few minor changes to this. So what I'm going to say is, oh, you know what? The first thing we need to do before we do this, we need to build a page. We completely forgot we need to build a page. So let's manage our layouts really fast. And as we know, the new security breach vault and this user database, both of those need to go into our, let me put it down here, because they're both actually in the unused section. So we're going to minus our templates, minus our product pages, minus our invoicing, and that way we now know what everything is. So we can take our security breach vault and put it in the unused section, and we can put our user database also in the unused section, and it's secret. Now we can do all kinds of interesting things, but I think this monitor one, let's see really fast. Let's open the monitor one. Okay, so the monitor one is one that we haven't yet accomplished, or if we did accomplish it, we didn't do that. So we can go ahead and close this page out. Pretty simple. And we'll uncheck it, and we'll move the monitored one up here as well. Now when we close them all, look how sweet that looks. Look how good that looks. But we do need to create a brand new page. So let's, and I think this page, it doesn't really matter. It's a admin specific page. So what we're going to do with the admin specific page is we're going to just create a new layout. So we'll go to layouts, and we'll just create a new layout. And it's going to show the records from our user database. And we're going to call this, let's just call her user info. That way we know what it is. I mean, you can always change it. If you want it to be like secret, you could just call it, I don't know, inventory things or whatever, but user info works just fine for me. We're going to have it on the computer, and it's a list view. So we'll go ahead and finish it. Now, as you can see, it doesn't say anything. We'll go ahead and move this over, and we'll go ahead and move this header down, just to give us a little space. And then you can add whatever you want to this. But we do need to get into our field picker. And we don't want labels. And you can do passwords. Just leave them in here. So passwords, and then first name. And unless your name is like 1,000 letters long, it's not going to need to be that big. Second is your last name. And it also doesn't need to be that darn big. Although you can have these any size you want to. It doesn't matter. They're just taking up space. Our active field, we're going to put it way over here in the end. And we're going to make it very, very short. Our destination field, That's where we need the big one. And then the notes. And the notes can be the exact time that you want things to happen. So we're good with that. So the very first thing that we're going to want to do is we have to have a record in this layout. So we need to let's just put a quick text in here really fast so that we know where we're at. What do we want to call this? Let's just call this data vault. We'll just call it the data vault, and we'll click off of it, and now we can basically go to our Bookman old style. We can make it 48, and we can change the color to yellow because I'm a big yellow fan, or a light blue. It doesn't really matter. You can make it whatever your heart desires. And if you want to, you could put in like tags. You could put things in here. You can say, you know, hey, last name, destination, whatever you want to, if you want to, because you can grab these and move them wherever you want. So if you want to put them right here, and you wanted to put in a thing, let's see, let's do code. And we'll click off. What? Where is it? Apparently it doesn't like me over there. Okay, so we'll do code. Click off. Oh, and by the way, we want these to be, I want my passwords to be centered, my destination to be centered, my notes to be centered, and my active to be centered. So what we will do with this is we will go ahead and we will create these things. So if you click on this and you press Control, you can actually bring this over, and then all we've got to do is type in first name, click off, press and hold the Control button, drag it over, last name, press and hold the Control button, and we know that the destination is in the center, so we'll just put that in the center. And of course we need to make sure it's in the center now that we added more space to it. There we go. Now you can say notes or active or whatever you want to. One thing that I like to do is just say time logged, or time whatever, time in, time out. Oop, there it is. It was right dead in the center. So now if we exit the layout, we'll see that here we have this just open. And there are no new records, as you can see. So you do have to create a record. And this record I'm going to create is, I'm going to have it my own personal code, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will say first name is Tim. And we will say the destination is, and this is the interesting part. This destination has to be the name of a layout, the exact name of a layout. So if you don't know the exact name of a layout, find it. And how you do that is you go into user info, and you go into like your admin page or whatever pages that you have. Like in my admin page, I have something called the admin window. And if I click on the admin window, it takes me here. And that's the actual name of it, admin window. So what I will do is I will go back to the record that I was just in, user info, and I will type in the destination, admin window. And so now I can actually get to that exact space when I type that number in. Now, if I want to, I can add another record, and I can create, I can say, if I put in another password, that it would take me somewhere else, same user. So if I wanted to, I could say, give me a new record, and this passcode is going to be 1235, and it's also going to be assigned to Tim. And this time I want it to go to menu 1, right? Is that what we called it? Product pages, category, invoicing, nope. This one is called, I don't want to go to entry page. I want to go to template, nope, I want to go to template. Category page. So that's what it is, category page. It has to be identical. It has to be identical to what you see. So here we will type in category page. And you can come back over here and you can look and you can see category page. So it's identical. Sweet. Now we've gotten through the basis of exactly what we want to do with this system. So now we have a couple of records. We're good to go. We're ready to go. And the only person that can access this is going to be you. So what we do want to do is we want to edit the layout. We want to manage our layouts. And we want to make sure that user info is not seen and that it is under our admin section. And we'll close that. So now if we go to our admin page and we go to our admin window, it just gave us an ability to do this. So now we can click on this and we can call this, you can either call this employees, you can call this data, you can call this passcodes, you can call this whatever you want to. And we're going to say perform a single step, and that single step is going to be go to, and it's going to be go to layout, and the layout that we want it to go to is, I keep forgetting that these things are like in different places. User info. And I apologize that things are, I got to remember I'm on this side, and for me, because I don't see this window, I see something completely different without me in it. So I got to remember that it is over there. And so we will call that good. And now what we need to do is we need to, I want to make this Bookman old style, and I want it to be 24. And now we have a passcode button. So if we exit the layout and we come over here, it will take us to our passcodes. Now, a cool thing is we can actually create a script if we want to that will show all records when it comes to this, and that's just fine. We can do that as well. But the number of scripts that you make, you want to try and keep them as narrow as possible, because you will have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them before you are done. I guarantee it. But one thing that we did notice is we cannot get out of here, and there's no security here. There's no way to secure any data. So how do we know what those, how do we know, like, how can we better control this page, right? So in order to better control the page, we're going to need something. We're going to need something that sets it apart. So what we can do is we will edit the layout, we'll manage our database, and we want to add a second field. So the second field that we're going to add is, or another field that we're going to add, not a second, because there's like tons of them. As you can see, there's like a bunch of them right there, right? But we need a security, some kind of a security thing. So let's just do, let's just call this pass. And I think what we'll do is we'll create that pass as a number. and we'll create it. And then we'll call it OK, and we'll go into our field picker, and we're going to grab this pass, and we're going to put this pass in the bottom where it is unseen in the footer. And then we're obviously going to, we can close that out. We're obviously going to select our appearance. And it doesn't need to have any color, and it doesn't need to have any lines. So it doesn't need to have anything. And now we need to put a button in, right? Because we can't get off of this page. How in the heck can you possibly get off of this page? Now, if you're going to do, if you're going to have this accessed to more than one, like if you want to have this accessed to, let's see, 24. I need it to be 24. So, and I don't like Tahoma, so we're going to use Bookman style. So if you want to have this access for your management, but you don't want them to be able to mess with it, but you want them to have access to it, you can do that. We would need to change this button to management or manage or whatever in the future. But right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to leave it the way that it is. And I don't like this time logged thing, so I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to put, because I like this to be over here instead. I like my button to be right there instead. And the button basically is going to give us something to do. So, and we're going to tell it to perform a script. And we're going to generate a brand new script. And we're going to put this under the go-to scripts. As you can see, we've already put it underneath there. And what we're going to do is we're going to say admin, or let's say data exit. We'll call it data exit. And so the very first thing we want to do is we want to say if and this is going to be sneaky, so you guys pay close attention to the sneaky part, right? So if, and I'm type in is empty, and it's pass, if is empty pass, we'll call that okay. Then we want to go to a layout. And the layout that we want to go to is our security breach. And then we will halt the script. And we'll put that there. And then what we want to do is if it's not empty, but you don't have to put if it's not empty, because we already said if it is empty, this is what we want you to do. So if it's not empty, then we just want it to go to a layout. And so we'll go to the layout, and the layout name that we want to go to is the admin window. And you can halt the script at this point. I like to put halt script at the end of everything, just because a couple of scripts that I wrote a couple of years ago, and I'm using FileMaker Pro 14 Advanced or FileMaker Pro 14 Advanced, whatever it is, 14 Pro Advanced. But I did discover in some of the earlier versions, and I discovered in this version as well a couple of years ago, that if you don't put in halt script, sometimes it will just repeat itself. It doesn't want to stop. I don't know why it does that, if it's some kind of a system, but halt script. And don't ever use empty field or whatever. Empty, there's some sort of empty thing. Let's see, what is it called? Empty. I think it's called empty. Nope. Okay, well, it's not, so we're good. But there was one where you could empty a field. You could, I don't remember the name of it, but you could just get rid of the stuff that was in a field. Don't ever use that one. That is bad to use. But this one will actually work beautifully. And so now we'll just say okay, because it's in the place where we want it to be. If it wasn't in the place where we want it to be, we'd just basically move it. Of course, you'd have to go into your settings field right here to be able to move it, but I think we're okay. We're right where it is, so we'll call that good. And now, if we exit the layout and we press the admin button, what do you think is going to happen to us if we press the admin button? You're absolutely correct. It's going to take you to the security breach. Why is it going to take you to the security breach? Because this little box that we have over here, that we actually want to edit layout, and we want to grab this little box. I forgot, because we don't want it available in browse mode. Not available in browse mode. And actually, some of these, like the active, we don't want that available in browse mode. We don't want the passwords or the first name or the notes available in browse mode. But for us, we kind of need to have this available to us as administrators, so we know, so we can change the password, we can change the person's name, we can change these things without having to go through and then say, okay, allow me access in browse mode so I can do it, right? So if we exit it, we now have this, and if we push this, we're going to go where? Nowhere? What's the matter with it? Edit layout. Why is it not working? Admin, perform script. If is empty, security breach, vault, passcode. What? Am I? Oh, dang, burned it. Did I write that? I did. I just wrote the script for a completely different thing. Data exit. I changed it and didn't even realize that I did that. So now if I exit the layout and I press this button, it will take me to my security breach area, right? And so the only way I can get out of this is to put my name in, and now it will take me to the register. And currently if I type in 1234, I can go straight to my admin page, right? It'll take me straight to my admin page. That's kind of what I want. But I want to change that so that it doesn't. So what I need to do with this passcode button is I need to make a change in the passcode button. And so what I want to do with the passcode button is let's edit the layout, and there is a script that we actually do need to change. I just thought of it while I was thinking about it, because as you exit that, you kind of need to, be like, what? So we do need to change what this actually does. So we're going to create a script for this, perform a script. And we're going to add a new one, and we're just going to call this add pass data. Add pass data. All one word. Add pass data. Because I don't like to make them too long. So what we're going to first do is our very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tell it to go to, because that way you can get there. But we want to say first and foremost, if and we'll say is empty, and the field that we're looking for, and we're in admin, is the security link, then what we want to do is we want to and I don't want to make it complicated, guys. I want to keep it as simple as I possibly can for you. The big thing is keeping it simple. So but we want to make sure that you got to this via this box, via this window. If you're here in this window, and you didn't just accidentally be able to get there, if that makes any sense. So if is empty, the admin security box, well, what do we want to do? We want to instantaneously go to layout. And the best thing in the world to do is send people, as I say all the time, to the security breach. And that's why we do it. We do it for that reason. So it gives us a place to send people when they're doing things that they're not supposed to, and they don't know it. So if this little security link doesn't say welcome, you're going to the security breach vault and you cannot get out of there no matter what you want to do. So you're stuck. You're stuck in that box until you can get an admin to come and help you, which means you were in the wrong place. So, and if you are in the wrong place, you should know better and you should contact someone and let them know. But in today's business world, you need as much security as you can get. Believe you me, as much as you can get. Employees, you know, they can be interesting at best. So, sometimes they find a way to get into some place and they're just like, hey, how did I just do that? So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and if it's empty, it's basically going to send us to a security breach. But if it's not empty, we want to go to that field, right? So we want to go to the layout. And the layout that we want to go to is, we want to go to our user info. And we want to set a field the second that we get there. And the field that we want to set is in our user info, user database. And it's the pass. And the calculator result is you can put anything in here. You can put anything in here. If you want to set a variable, set a variable. If you don't want to set a variable, don't set a variable. Set a couple of numbers, you know, 1, 5, who cares? And call it good. And now it will go there and it will set that little box as a 1 and a 5. And then halt script, as I always do. Always halt script at the end. And so now what will happen is if we exit this layout, and we can see it says welcome here because it's me. It knows who I am. And we go to passcode, it will automatically have set this little box that you can't see. So now if you press the admin button, it will take you back to the admin. See how flawless it was? But the problem that you're going to have is that with this box, we didn't clear it when we went back to admin, right? So we need to edit the layout, and we need to go back into our admin, and we need to go into the data exit script. And before we go to the layout admin, we need to set a field. So from end here, we'll set a field, and the field that we want to set is our pass, and this calculator result will be to vacate it so that there's nothing there. So if it's empty, data user pass, then go to the security breach and halt the script. But if it's not empty, go ahead and set the field to 0 and then go to layout. Go to the layout. So now the little window will be cleared at all times. So this little window will be clear and it won't be the same. But the only way that you can get there, because we did what we did, the only way that you can get there from here, because you know what, it doesn't matter if people change this, as an administrator, you're always going to be able to get in. And something that you can do as well is with this, and I'm going to show you guys this trick really super quick. I apologize if the stream is running over a little bit long. I meant to keep it down to an hour, but it might go over just a little bit. So I do very much apologize for that in advance. But if you go into your passwords, what you can do is, stop that, you dorks, is we can hide the object when. So we can hide the object when, and we will say is empty, pass. And so now if we were to go into, and I'm going to show you how, I'm going to show you this, you can actually hide all of this data. You can hide all of it if you want to. So it doesn't even exist. When this little field is empty. And remember, you can't put a number in that field, and no one else knows that the field is even there. So now if we exit the layout, we can now see that this one is for Tim. You can't see it because this box is empty. Because we did, let's edit the layout really fast. And let's make this a yellow color. Okay. And while we're at it, let's just put it in the center because you know how I am, right? I'm anal for that stuff. So right now it is 15. Huh. Wonder why it is hiding it when the passcode is not empty. Edit layout. Hide objects when is empty data user base pass. All right, well, let's see what happens. Let's exit the layout. Let's go to our admin. Oh, it was obviously empty. Tim. Okay, now let's go to our, where is it? Admin page. Oh, I undid it, didn't I? Because I can't even do it. So the user info page, I'm going to click it on so I can actually see it, just so you guys know. The user info page right here, I had to click it on so I could actually see it. And sometimes you can do this. You can just move the window, so make sure you don't have one that's accidentally open behind you. And we'll exit the layout. When you're building these, you kind of need to be able to go there, right? So we'll go here, and we see it has nothing there. But I'm not sure. I guess let's create a new record. And we'll say Tim. You may have to do this. Let's see, admin. Window. And apparently it's not going to give me, it's not even going to give me access to it. That's kind of funny. And we'll exit layout mode. Exit layout mode. We'll go to admin. It's going to take me here. Team. Go to our administrator. Go to our passcodes. Here's our box. I don't understand why it's not showing me these numbers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6. So for this specific one, for some reason, it's not showing it to me. I'm not sure why. Edit layout. I guess I will just undo that. Go back into my inspector. Apply in find mode. No, I don't want to apply in find mode. I'll just delete that. I'll just delete that for now, because for some odd reason, select entire contents on end. But I will show you how to fix that later. But you can actually hide the objects on, and I think you have to create it first. You have to do that first, and then add all your data in after the fact. And then it will hide it if anyone gets to that page. But for now, it's not that big a deal for us because we've basically created an extremely robust system that, and you can see the 15 down here. So we've created an extremely robust system where people cannot just get into where they want to and then escape from there. So, and like here it says welcome. If it didn't say welcome and we press the passcode, what's going to happen? Instantaneously to the security box or to the security vault, and then you're stuck in the security vault system. I did want to quick go over the stuff that I was actually going to do, which was going to be the passcode deal that we were going to do for our main page. And it was this page, and it had to do with this button, this admin button. that I wanted to recreate for that purpose to go to a specific place. And one of the other things that we can do as well is we can also talk about here shortly, or in the next video we'll do that. We'll deal with actually getting into this, making it so it's not quite as visible to people. So it's not quite as people can't just be like, oh, I just saw you typed in 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we will do is we will go ahead and we will start to do our admin button. So if we go into our admin button and we tell it admin access, one of the very first things that we want to do is we want to say if the menu security box is, and I'm just going to type in is empty, and that is the admin security box. So we're just going to change like everything. We're just going to change everything. Then what we wanted to do is we wanted to set a field. We do actually want it to set a field. But the field that we wanted to set is not the security box. It's the error box. And the calculated result is the error box plus, and we'll just put our little parentheses in there, 1. Okay. No. If it's empty, we don't need to set anything. If it's empty, we'll just do, let's just do a custom dialog. Show custom dialog. Let's click on this if, show custom dialog. And the custom dialog is no data found. And the error code is error code 1372. Data was not found. And then you can just say, please ask admin for assistance, or enter valid passcode. And as you know, we don't need that, so we're just going to go ahead and get rid of the cancel button. I hope you guys saw all that. So we do need to show a custom dialog, and then we just need to basically halt the script. So I'm going to come down here in the bottom and say halt script. And we're going to take one of these halt scripts up here. And then what we need to do is we'll have the end if. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we need to start setting some variables. So I think the thing that I want to do is just to keep it so it's not quite so darn confusing is we're going to set so if it's not empty, we'll go ahead and we'll set us a variable. I'm just trying to think what we want it to do though. And I'm just going to type in user, and the value is going to be the value of the security box. And now what we'll do is we do need to set the field, the variable box. Set the box, and it's going to be the security box, and its calculated result will be 0. And then we'll set another field, and that's going to be our error box, and the calculated result will be 0. And now what we need to do is we need to freeze the window because we need it to We don't want people to know what we're doing in the background. So we'll just go ahead and we'll freeze the window. And then we're going to go to our layout, and that's going to be our user data layout. So we'll go to layout. And the layout that we want to go to is our user info layout. User info, user database. Okay. And we want to pretty quickly enter the find mode. We don't need it to pause. And then after that, what we want to do is we want to set our we want to set a field. So set a field, and the field that we want to set is in our user database. It's going to be passwords. And the calculated result is going to be that $user. $user. And so now what it's going to do is it's going to go, we're going to freeze the window. We're going to go to that layout that is a super secure layout no one should ever have access to. So we're going to go to that layout. We'll enter the find mode. We're going to tell it to set a field. And then what we want it to do is we want to set the error capture. So we can just basically say set error capture and leave it on. And then we will set the, we'll perform the find. I'm sorry. Perform the find. Did we miss something? So if is empty, and then no. I will, you know what? We'll fix that. We'll fix that later. I was just looking through my notes, and I'm seeing that I was talking about this error box in one of my other things. So so if it's not empty, so we do need to do it exactly like this. So find, go to layout, enter find mode, set the field, set error capture on, and then we need to perform the find. So perform find. And at this point, now what we need to do is we need to add an if statement. Because if we find that and we don't want that, we want security user data, that if the passwords is empty. So if is empty and passwords, because it didn't find anything, performed find didn't find anything. So if that passwords is empty, then it needs to come back to this page. And we will set a variable as it comes back to this page. So we will go to layout, original layout, that's fine. Then we need to set a field. And that field needs to be the error box. And the calculated result is the error box plus 1. Plus 1. And that way we know how many times that people have actually used it. Now, in this particular case, we can go to this end if, and we can add a short if statement. And I think that's probably the best thing to do is let's add a quick if statement. So if the error box is greater or equal, either equal to or greater than 3, whatever the case is. So if it's equal to or greater than 3, or let's just do 2. Then what we want it to do is we want it to go to a layout. Well, actually, what we wanted to do first is, let's delete that, because we don't, well, let's not delete it because we don't really need to delete it. What we need to do is we need to, at this point, we can go ahead and set the field. And the field that we can set is the error box. And the calculated result will be 0. And then we can go to the layout, and the layout that we want to go to is going to be that our security breach one. And then we need a halt script after that. So now if we go, if the error box is greater than 2, it's going to set a field, and it's going to go ahead and clear that box out for us. And then it's going to send you to the security thing so you can't get out. And this is the long one, so I do apologize. It is a long script, and it does take a little bit to actually write it. Set variable. So we went ahead and we set our variable, and we go to the layout, user info, set field, perform find, and then if now it is empty, it's going to come back, and it's going to set the menu, the error box +1. So it'll add 1 to that box for us, and then it will end the script. And we should obviously do a halt script here. But if it's not empty, so perform the find. But so if it's empty, but if it's not empty, then the very first thing we need to do is we need to set a variable. And that variable needs to be, give me just a minute, I'm thinking. We do need to set a variable, and the variable will be layout, because I want it to do, and we'll specify that as the user info, user database destination. Okay. And now we can tell it to go to that layout. We can now say go to a layout, and we're going to do this layout by a calculation. And that calculation is going to be, as you can see, $layout. $layout. And now we should be able to halt the script and feel confident that we are done. Oop. What? Halt. Apparently I didn't click halt script. All right. So now we'll say okay. It doesn't like us, that's for sure. It doesn't like us. So now if we exit this and I type in 1235, it should take me to the category page. And if I type in 1234, it should take me to this page. And so the cool thing is that now anywhere that is at, anywhere where that security box is at on that system, we can go to wherever we want to. So typing in 1234, but we did forget something, did we not? We did forget something. Because if we go to our admin page, it currently says welcome. It will always say welcome. We will need to, on the next video, I will show you how to get rid of that. It will clear it when you leave this page or when you exit the page. And that's pretty simple. Just like with this exit right now, I think it is telling you just to do a single step. Yeah, it's just telling you to do a single step. But however, we need to make sure that if you come to this page via the passcode, that you can set the security link as welcome so that it is a secure facility for you. And that just is a couple of extra things on the script, but other than that, we will be good to go. So until the next time, guys, I appreciate you guys watching me, and I will show you how to do that. This week, it was all about just kind of figuring out how we could make some major changes and really start bringing this thing together. And I think the cool thing about having this passcode or having this ability to do this is you don't really need these buttons if you don't want them. You can not have them. But this allows an administrator or a manager from any page out of any one of your systems, whether it be you're on register 2 or register 1 or register 5 or whatever the case is, that you can automatically go to where you need to get as an administrator and check on things like instantly. And that also works well or great for management personnel as well. And this will also work very well for passcodes if you want people to do time cards, or if you want people to actually add in a passcode for their register 1. So if you press this register 1, it will prompt you to put in a passcode, and then all it's doing is verifying. What this would do is it would basically just verify that you are who you say you are, and it can bring your name into the system, which is kind of cool, because when you get to your invoicing, you can basically say, hey, like you go to your invoice, you can put in someone's name here. And so you know exactly who made the sale and all that other interesting stuff. You can see that this is kind of stuck on a specific time because we haven't done anything with this, and there are no buttons that we can do other than the menu button. But it should be, I'm pretty positive, it is, I think this was supposed to be on modification. Let's find out. The invoice, so let's go to our managed database really fast. And we're in register, and the date modification timestamp. Yes, so it is actually modification on creation. Validation supersers data value from last record calculated value looked up value. You can actually have it as a looked up value too. Looked up starting with table, look up from related table. No, I don't want to do any of that. So just cancel that. All right. Well, anyway, until the next time, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching me. Don't forget, on our Luculent Media channel, we do have a lot of other things going on. If you didn't notice, I did take down the image, that image right there, just so you guys could kind of see what was going on. But we will see you guys in the next video. You guys are amazing. Thanks so very much. I will probably do another video here in a couple of days so that we can finish this part out. And then once this part is out, we'll actually start building onto some more systems, and we'll get our admin sections set and our management sections set as well. And then we'll return and start creating pages, or for sale pages that we can actually use to sell product on. So until that time, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate you guys being here, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys. And as I always say, be good to each other.